Hi, everyone. This is Colleen with our last and final presentation. I want to take just a couple seconds to say what an amazing journey it has been to go through this class and to learn so much about my degree. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to be at ACU and to get my degree. This class was a perfect ending to a perfect path. So my presentation is on servant leadership as being a necessary aspect of Christian counseling. This is something that I discovered very early on in this class, and I thought it would be a great aspect to investigate a little bit. So what I want to do is explore servant leadership, and it's known as a corporate world. Servant leadership is getting very popular in what's going on with the world now and how to lead companies and corporations because of the benefits of it. But when we look at counseling, and especially when we look at Christian counseling, it is a different aspect, because one of our biggest role model in the whole entire world and our universe is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ was was the most amazing servant leaders that existed. So to use Jesus as an idea of how I want to be as a Christian counselor, that's exactly where I want to be. And I know I'm never going to meet up to Jesus, but at the same time I can try. And that's the whole goal. I mean, that's where we're supposed to live our lives anyway, is trying to be like Jesus. So as counselors, wouldn't it make sense to live like Jesus and counsel like Jesus in order to get where we want to go and get the results that we want to do when we help people? So the first thing I realized is that we were given instructions as Christians, plain and simple: honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, and honor the king. Peter was one of the instructors for the Christians that were strewn all over the world because of persecution. So this was a letter to them. So letting them know that this is what's expected of you. I don't care where you are in the universe. Your job is to do this: honor all men, love your brotherhood, fear God, and honor the king. This is what is expected out of a Christian at all times. So we should live by the same instructions. If our goal is to become like Jesus, then what we want to do is act like him in everything that we do. And if we're counselors, then we should be able to counsel like Jesus. And if we're going to counsel like Jesus, then servant leadership is where we want to be. And so there's a lot there to it. My paper is quite extensive, but I've learned so much going through this. There's an article by Lauren Love, and she mentions that she was taking two classes at the same time. One was a leadership class and the other was a counseling class, and she realized how much the two overlapped. So using this theory, I think it should be integrated into all of our counseling theories. So this way we treat the whole person, not just part of the person, and not just help them get through what they're doing, but give them that empowerment to succeed through life. Allow them to make their own choices, allow them to make their own decisions, and guide them through the process. So that's what servant leadership is it's just leading by example. You have 10 concepts of leadership, and it's listening, empathy, healing, awareness, conceptualization, foresight, persuasion, stewardship, commitment to people's growth, and building a community. All these things work together as part of servant leadership. As people, we are part of that fallen man. When Adam and Eve were in the garden and sin entered the world, a lot happened. But keep in mind that we were still made in God's image. And everything that we do, we are in God's image. So we have the power within ourselves to succeed and to grow and to heal and to influence people and everything else that we do. So when we look at it that way, we're already there. We just need that servant leader to come alongside of us and help us get through. So the role of counseling and theories and strategies, this is where it all comes into effect. There are about 12 approaches, and I'm not going to bore you with all 12 of them, but I wanted to pick up a couple. But then I wanted to tell you how they work together. So you have psychodynamic counseling. It's about building rapport and helping others. Interpersonal counseling. There's no blame. It's just environmental stressors. So that way it promotes self-efficiency and reduces symptoms when you go through and sit alongside. Humanistic or client-centered, which is a very good way to say people-centered or servant leadership. It encourages curiosity. It also encourages humility, empathy, altruism. These things are very huge in servant leadership. It's also very empathic and non-judgmental. We can go on through all of these, but some of the big words that come through keep getting there. Client-driven, roles and relationships. Therapist and client work together. Non-judgmental, respect. These words are continuous. So the idea of being a servant leader and a servant leader in a counseling position is just to combine the two. So service to others, integrated work ethic where we're using our values, instilling a sense of community. And that community doesn't have to be huge, but what it has to do is build a small community within each person so they can go out and become servant leaders too. Power and sharing of decision making. So this is empowering people to make their own choices. I can't think of a better way to do things as a counselor, is to empower people and then have them emulate you by being a servant leader out in the world once they have become effective. Pain is something that we go through as well. And we have to be careful. But pain and suffering, it's just part of life. And we don't change unless there's a necessity to change. And sometimes pain is that necessity, no matter what we go through. And so we talk about different things, but pain can affect us in so many different ways. The pain that I go through will help me empathize with somebody else going through the same pain in the future. The pain that my children go through will help them empathize with people who go through the same thing. And then the pain that we go through ourselves, that helps us grow. And it also helps us learn to lean on God for help, because we can't do it on our own. And so everything that we come across, including pain, is going to help us grow and get better. I would like to introduce you to the greatest servant leader of all, and that is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was perfect. He came onto this earth humbling himself as a man, and his attributes were nothing but perfect and nothing but service leadership. He took care of his apostles. He knew how to listen to them. He knew how to ask the right questions, how to talk to them, and how to lead them. He never gave up on them. He told them several times in the New Testament, throughout Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that he was going away. He was going to be crucified, and people didn't understand that, but he didn't give up. And he also didn't criticize them for not getting it. He just continued. And my picture here is just so perfect. He washes apostles' feet as the idea to teach them to serve. They're not better than anybody else. And leaders can serve other people too, because leaders should be humble and should take care of themselves. When we look at all of this, I notice that there are a couple downfalls. Because if we look at the leadership role model, we can really look at all of these things. There are a couple things that don't fit. Improving organizational processes. That's not really going to fit through a counseling session. However, if we can help other people improve their organizational processes, then we've got it made. We want to spread light and love and influence and humility to everybody in a helping, caring, professional manner. And if we look to Jesus, this is what we can do. We'll look to Jesus as our role model. Look at servant leadership as the great way to continue to serve. And even when we put it into a counseling form, it's going to help so many more people on so many more levels. And it's also going to help us as counselors and us as people and us as Christians. So I pray for that servant heart every day. And I will integrate service leadership into everything I do from here on out. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.